we can talk about this reporting maybe from today. With regards to Zach's future, like, is he even really going anywhere? I don't know. So like at a certain point, yes, Kobe is playing better. What happens when Zach comes back? Are you still just doing the same thing? And like, to me, they can be playing better, but for the majority, like, for all intents and purposes, they are still the same team. Mm-hmm. That's just being the same level of mediocre, just in different sections of the season.
I got you.
Right. And I wonder if at any point that will change. And the Zach trade, if and when that happens, is going to have a huge impact on how that looks.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how that happens, how that goes down. Do you think that trade is more of a trade that's going to happen within like soon, or more of a deadline thing? Like we might actually see him put on the Bulls uniform again, but then he gets traded.
Well, I would say this is not going to happen until the trade deadline. And honestly, I'm feeling like it might not happen this year. Not like saying I know anything, but just the way that the market has materialized, like it's past December 15th. Like if there was really somebody who was like chomping at the bit for Zach, he'd be gone.
True.
Champing at the bit. Continue.
Oh,
pardon me.
He can't. He can't help himself. He can't help himself.
And there was some reporting today from Sam Amick at the Athletic, and basically he got Rich Paul on record saying, well, people are saying Zach wants to go to the Lakers. That's not necessarily true. Like, we just want him to go somewhere where he's going to be happy. And there was a second quote in there. I don't know if Joey, maybe you can find it. Basically just saying, if the Bulls decide to go another direction and that includes Zach, then we will, take it from there. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like this sort of realization that, Zach he scored 50, and then they had that sort of soft trade request. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting courtside with Rich Paul at the United Center and smiling. His earrings are dangling and
wearing the same hoodie.
And all of a sudden, like, nobody in the league really wants him. And people are talking about him like he's just a dead contract, Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that does not feel good for Zach. I'm sure that does not like feeling good on his confidence.
I'm sure it don't.
And one, I think that there's probably a realization that there's a reality where he does have to come back to the Bulls. Mm-hmm. And two, does that change who he's going to be or who he wants to be as a part of this team? Like, he's been, by all reporting, great on the sidelines, great in the locker room, getting along with everybody, like no interpersonal dynamics, but like, the Bulls are playing well without him. And, there's probably some coincidence there. It's probably like a perfect storm of just kind of like shit going on for Zach, where they start to play, they're playing terribly while he's out there. He gets hurt. They start playing better. And I wonder how that's going to impact things moving forward too. Like this whole, like, these wins and losses are great, but like there's still a lot of huge roster decisions coming. And it's like even really hard to, at certain points, to like appreciate what's going on, because there just seems to be so much massive potential change coming. And even if it doesn't happen, even if that change doesn't happen, even if Zach doesn't go anywhere, that thing is still like looming over this team. And I don't think that just goes away.
Well, I mean, there are countless examples throughout the years, Will, of disgruntled NBA stars who demand trades, and then for whatever reason, the trade doesn't happen, and they stick around and even come back and play again for that team, and everything goes great for everyone. Zach is done. Like, I follow the logic of what you just said, and like you terrified the shit out of me today when you said that you believe those reports. And, he might stick around. I am sorry.
I'm not saying he's like sticking around because he wants to be here.
No. I know that. I'm not saying that you're validating for that being a good path forward. I am saying cat's out of the bag. The can of worms is all over your dining room freaking table. Deal with it. Because asking Zach to come back into these feel-good vibes, the young guys playing well and Kobe turning into a quasi-star of sorts, ruins it. Because Zach's not happy. They all feel uncomfortable about the fact that Zach is not happy, and nobody's happy. And it goes back to a bunch of people standing around looking like they're not excited to play with and for one another. I do not see a path forward that is at all feasible.
Do you see a path forward where it's like 0 picks incoming, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and 0 picks? Like, I just don't know.
It's gross.
If AK is going to be able to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Don't do that.
You have
Don't do that.
You have a point to doubt his willingness to trade Zach at a bottom barrel price compared to what he could still very legitimately be worth to an NBA team. I am just sitting here as a fan saying, you cannot walk this back.
He's only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Correct.
And what the Bulls have paid is a lot of money.
Yeah.
To have him. But if nobody else wants him, like, the
only thing that everyone in our comments tonight seems to be agreeing on and is in full agreement on is Zach gotta go. Well, yeah, Dave's awesome. Yeah.
But I mean, that's also
new. Sorry, well, go
that's
ahead.
also like, I don't think it's a good reason to like say trade Caruso because you have to like make up for what you aren't able to get for Zach. Like, I think they also still need to take the Zach trade seriously. You can't just like get rid of him to get rid of him. I think you should have better asset management in general and trade Caruso because you're not going anywhere and because he's valuable and you can get stuff for him. But I think like if you are like 10 games of Kobe being, 27-7 guy, 25-7-7 on 50-50, 90 shooting.
Sexy.
That's not enough reason to just dump Zach. And I think that's really all you can do right now. Like, I think in a lot of, there's a world where like the best thing for Zach is for him to come back healthy, play well, Bulls continue to look good. And like, he makes it pretty clear to people that he's still as talented as we all know Zach is without like completely hijacking the season or tanking the vibes.
I suppose that's possible.
Tanking the vibes.
My first point, and it was said somewhat in jest, but also somewhat seriously, is disgruntled star player comes back after requesting a trade and then sitting on the shelf with an injury. And, I'm not making light of the fact that maybe Zach's foot is messed up right now. I am just saying there are countless examples in recent years where that blows up because the player has to come back and in some way play again after the trade request thing happens. And we're going to try and find you a trade. And then they don't. And it's like uncomfortable, awkward. I'm still here. You're all still here. I'm not saying that
has been asking for a trade. Like,
I'm not like, advocating for AK to sell Zach for literally a bag of expired airline peanuts. I am saying if they don't, and he is still here after February 8th, they better be ready to deal with the fact that it's going to be ugly, that he is still here.
We all silly like the mayor.